Hey Run Junkies, welcome back to Runners Without Limits TV. One of the most common questions I get that I'm really not qualified to answer at all is, how do I improve my nutrition to become a better runner? Or something in that vein, something to that effect. I'm not qualified to really dig into details because I'm not a certified nutrition, nor am I a registered dietitian. However, I did recently go through a program led by the latter of those two, so let me tell you what I learned or relearned with Simply Nourished Like a Mother. My former dietitian, Ellie Kempton, developed this program with another mother runner. And instead of telling you all of the long titles, I'm gonna leave links in the description, so please check her out. She's amazing. I worked with Ellie several years ago and I learned a lot. However, I really didn't get the practical applications to stick, or at least I didn't think I did. So I thought I would take this as a refresher course since it was very similar to the things I already knew. Nutrition is such an individual thing though, and everyone has their own food sensitivities, health concerns, fitness fueling, which is what makes nutrition so challenging to discuss in broad strokes. However, many times the question of improving nutrition really is about what we already know. We know from grade school what a healthy plate looks like, and we know what junk food is. It shouldn't be a shock that eating healthier is about paying attention to what we are actually eating, how and when, and how it is making us feel. This was an 8-week program, so I'm not gonna give you every little detail, but rather I wanna share 8 of my favorite tips and takeaways, one for every week of the program. For more, please check out my blog series over on runnerswithoutlimits.com. Links are in the description. This first thing is about crowding out the junk. This idea wasn't about going through the pantry and throwing out all the bad stuff, just a clean sweep, but rather allowing the right foods to take up more space in both the kitchen and in your body. Meaning, after a supermarket trip, the fridge and the pantry would be filled with veggies and fruits and grains, lean proteins, and good for you fats. Similarly, when eating foods that maximize energy and performance, you are also doing the same in your body. You're crowding out the junk and making way for high performance fuel. The next tip is to change it up regularly. While we might gravitate to our favorites, it is important to switch things up occasionally. My go-to veggies are baby spinach and red bell peppers. Your body will start building a healthy gut, and that means that the more variety of healthy foods, the healthier that belly microbiome will be. So trade out the baby spinach for arugula or kale, and the bell peppers for carrots, and so on. The next tip was huge. This is eat the veggies first as often as you can. The fiber and nutrients will get absorbed faster, and you might feel more satiety. Follow veggies up with proteins, then carbs. When you start with the veggies like a salad or your oven roasted favorites, you are priming the pump for your body to get what it needs first. Another thing is that carbs are not evil. In fact, they are the fuel that many distance runners use. Now, I know some athletes have found a way to make low carb or keto-based nutrition plan work, and that's great. However, that may not work for everyone. Carb sources like potatoes, rice, beans, and fruits are all great sources of fuel to keep the tank topped off. And also, fats aren't evil either. If you're a member of the snack wall generation, remember those green boxes of low-fat cookies that you would eat all in one sitting? You may have an unhealthy relationship with fats, but as new science has learned, we now know that healthy fats are critical for cognitive function, meaning our brains run on fats. Healthy sources like olive oil, nuts, and nut butters, fish, and yes, even cheeses can lead to sustained energy throughout the day. The carb crescendo, the protein peak, and the fats fall off. What the heck is all of that? Okay, well, this is a massive oversimplification of Ellie's nutrition economy. Start the day with little to no carbohydrates and a lot of fat sources. Build in more carbs as the day goes on while reducing the fats. Proteins should be fairly even throughout the day with a little more in the middle of the day. Now, I'm not going to get into the sciencey science of all of this, and it takes some cognitive recalibration to get used to it. But once I dialed all of this in, I maintained energy throughout the day, and cravings for almost all the junk all but disappeared. Another thing is, this isn't always going to taste great or be the way you want to eat all the time. but it's like going for a run. You might love being a runner, but you won't like it all the time. But just like with our fitness journey, our nutrition journey just helps us feel better. We get more energy out of our proper fueling. We can keep up with our kids. We'll see increased performance during our runs. We'll sleep better. So yeah, maybe you'd rather have a donut, and no one is saying you shouldn't, but start with the good stuff. Then let's talk about my 8th tip. Add a little sparkle. This was probably my favorite thing about Ellie and her programs. She has no expectations of perfection. In fact, she encourages eating the foods that bring us joy, like that donut, or the ice cream, or the birthday cake. This isn't dieting. It's a perspective shift. It's a long-term, sustainable habit that allows for more wiggle room and, let's face it, some joy. As I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg, lettuce. See what I did there? And I learned so much that I'm still trying to apply much of it in my day-to-day life. I'm not always perfect, and that is truly the point. It's not about perfection. It's about balancing it all out, the hormones, the GI distress, getting better sleep, and generally feeling better overall. But what do you think? How do you incorporate healthy eating habits into your daily routine? Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions for future videos in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And remember, you can financially support this network over on Patreon, where you will get exclusive access to behind the scenes, bloopers, and so much more. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, you have no limits. Happy running.